Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The sacred meaning of falling and rising in the spiritual journey, the idea of perfection is often misunderstood. Many believe that to be spiritual is to be unshakable, untouched by suffering, immune to doubt, and incapable of failure. Yet the deeper truth whispered by sages across centuries is that spirituality is not about avoiding the fall, it is about discovering the divine power that awakens within us each time we rise. The glory of the human soul is not revealed in uninterrupted strength, but in resilience, not in spotless purity, but in transformation, not in never losing our way, but in remembering who we are after we have forgotten. Falling is not a failure of the spirit, it is a function of being human. Rising is not a return to where we were, it is an evolution into who we are becoming. The ego seeks a path without disruption. It imagines enlightenment as a straight staircase leading upward toward light, predictable, safe, and controlled. But the spiritual path is not linear. It is cyclical. It spirals through joy and despair, clarity and confusion, hope and surrender. Every fall, whether into anger, fear, jealousy, attachment, doubt, or despair, reveals a place within us that has not yet been illuminated by awareness. From a worldly perspective, falling is a mistake. From a spiritual perspective, falling is feedback. Each moment we collapse into unconsciousness shows us where love has not yet reached, where forgiveness has not yet softened, where truth has not yet been realized. Thus, the fall is not an enemy of the journey, it is a teacher. There is a sacred alchemy that occurs when we choose to rise again after falling. In that moment when we decide to stand after shame, to trust after betrayal, to hope after disappointment, we are no longer operating from the conditioned mind. We are operating from the soul. Each time we rise, we transmute guilt into compassion. We transform fear into courage. We dissolve resentment into forgiveness. We turn suffering into wisdom. This is the essence of spiritual growth, not the absence of darkness, but the integration of it. Just as a seed must crack open in darkness before it becomes a tree, the soul must break open through experience before it becomes aware of its true nature. Falling breaks the illusion of invulnerability. Rising builds the reality of inner strength. The night as a teacher. Many spiritual traditions speak of the dark night, a period where meaning seems absent, where joy withdraws, where prayer feels unanswered, and where the path ahead disappears into shadow. In these moments we fall, not just emotionally, but existentially. We question everything. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose of this suffering? Is there meaning in this pain? But it is in the darkness that the deepest truths are revealed. For when everything external is taken away, success, identity, control, certainty, what remains is the quiet presence of awareness itself. And it is from this place that rising becomes possible, not by force, not by denial, but by surrender. To rise after falling is an act of faith. Faith not necessarily in religion or doctrine, but in the unseen intelligence of life itself. It is the quiet conviction that this pain is not permanent. This confusion is not final. This failure is not defining. Faith is the bridge between where we are and who we are meant to become. Every time we rise, we affirm that our circumstances do not determine our consciousness. We affirm that we are not our past. We are not our past. We are not our wounds. We are the awareness in which all of these arise and pass away. The ego falls, the soul rises. What truly falls when we fall? It is rarely the soul. It is the ego, the constructed identity that seeks validation, control, and permanence in an impermanent world. When we fall into disappointment, it is often because reality did not conform to our expectations. When we fall into anger, it is often because life did not match our desires. When we fall into despair, it is often because the future did not fulfill our imagined narratives. In this sense, falling is the dismantling of illusion, and rising is the remembrance of truth. Each time we rise, we loosen our identification with the temporary and deepen our connection to the eternal. Compassion through collapse. One of the greatest spiritual gifts of falling is compassion. A person who has never struggled may sympathize with pain, but a person who has suffered understands it. Every time we fall and rise again, we become softer, less judgmental of others' mistakes, more patient with human frailty, more accepting of imperfection. Our wounds become windows through which empathy enters. Our failures become bridges that connect us to the shared humanity of all beings. Thus, falling does not isolate us. It unites us. The practice of rising is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like taking one conscious breath instead of reacting, choosing silence instead of argument, offering forgiveness instead of resentment, trying again after rejection, beginning anew after loss. Spiritual rising is often quiet and unseen. It happens in the decision to meditate after days of distraction, the willingness to love after heartbreak, the courage to speak truth after years of silence. Each of these moments is a resurrection of consciousness. The eternal return life will continue to present opportunities to fall. We will lose what we thought we needed, encounter what we hoped to avoid, face what we believed we had overcome. But each fall is an invitation not to despair but to deepen, to return to the present moment, to return to awareness, to return to love. And in this return we rise again. The true glory, our greatest glory, is not in maintaining an image of perfection. It is in our willingness to learn, adapt, forgive, transform. It is in our refusal to let pain harden us. It is in our commitment to growth despite uncertainty. It is in our capacity to awaken again and again to the truth of who we are beyond circumstance. To fall is human. To rise is spiritual, and to continue rising despite the inevitability of falling is the quiet triumph of the soul. In this way, every fall becomes sacred, every rise becomes grace, and the journey itself becomes the revelation that we were never broken, only becoming.